Nobody warned me that adulthood sometimes feels like standing in the middle of a room and realizing you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. Not the dramatic kind of lost, not the kind where everything is falling apart, just quietly lost. You wake up, you check your phone, you think about everything you need to do, you get ready, you go to work, you answer messages, you make plans. In fact, sometimes you cancel some of them. You pay bills, you worry about money, you worry about your health, you worry about your future, you worry about your family, you worry about everything that you need to do. You tell someone you're okay even when you're not. And somehow you're expected to know what comes next in your life. But honestly, sometimes we don't. You don't. Sometimes you look around at everyone else and it feels like they received a manual that somehow never made it to you. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. Everyone seems to know where they're going. Someone is getting married. Someone is moving to another country. Someone just got promoted. Someone started a business. Someone bought a house. Someone bought a car. Someone seems to have their entire life beautifully organized. And you are sitting thinking, wait, wasn't I supposed to have figured out this by now? Maybe that's one of the strangest part of growing up. Everyone looks like they know what they are doing until you realize that most of us are just figuring out as we go. Welcome back to Moments and Musings. If today is your first time here, I'm so glad you found your way. Whether you are returning or just joining us, welcome to the Quiet Corner, a space where we slow down, reflect, and make sense of the moments that shapes us. Today, I want us to talk about something that doesn't get said enough: adulthood. I repeat, adulthood. Oh my god. Adulthood na shege o. Hey. Not the glamorous version. Not the version where everything finally makes sense. Not the one that you have your dream job, the perfect routine, your finances is figured out, your emotions is under control, you eat healthy, you exercise, you sleep 8 hours, and somehow you remember to drink enough water every day. No. I'm talking about the other version. The quieter version. The version where sometimes you miss being younger. The version where you have responsibilities but still feel like a child inside. The version where you realize that growing older doesn't automatically mean feeling grown. There is a strange moment that happens somewhere between childhood and adulthood. You don't know exactly how when it happens. There isn't a ceremony. Nobody hands you a certificate. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly feel like an adult. It happens quietly. Maybe it's the first time you have to make a serious decision by yourself. Maybe it's the first time you realize that your parents don't have every answer. Maybe it's your first time you have a problem, and instead of looking around for someone to fix it, you realize, oh, I have to handle this all by myself. And that is a strange feeling, because when we were younger, we thought adults knew everything. In fact, I certainly did. Adults looked certain, so certain to me. They had jobs, they drove cars, they made decisions, they knew how to talk to people, they seemed to know exactly what they were doing. So somewhere in our mind, we created this imaginary finish line, and we thought, one day I'll become an adult, and then everything will make sense. I will know what I want. I will know who I am. I will know where I'm going. I will know how to handle disappointment. I will know how to make money. I will know how to undo friendships and maintain them. I will know how to take care of myself. I will know how to build a life for myself. And then you actually grow up and you discover something nobody really tells you. Most adults are still becoming. Some are still figuring out their careers. Some are changing direction. Some are questioning decisions they made 10 years ago. Some are starting over. Some are quietly struggling. Some are scared. Some are lonely. And when you begin to understand something, growing up isn't becoming someone who has all the answers. It's becoming someone who can live with the question. Maybe that's why adulthood can feel so strange. Because you're not only living your actual life, you're also comparing it to the life you imagined. And sometimes, the hardest person to disappoint is a younger version of yourself. Because that version of you had plans. Maybe you thought you'd be somewhere else by now. Maybe you imagined a certain career, a certain home, a certain lifestyle. Maybe you thought you'd have more friends, more money, more confidence, more freedom. Maybe you thought you'd understand yourself better. And then, suddenly, you reach the age you once thought was grown. And you look around and think, is this it? Not because your life is terrible, oh. That's important. Your life can be good and still feels unfinished. You can be grateful and still want more. You can love where you are and still wonder where you're going. Those feelings can exist at the same time, but we don't always allow ourselves to admit that. Because the moment you say, I am not where I thought I'd be, someone might tell you to be grateful. And yes, thinking about it, be grateful. But gratitude doesn't mean you aren't allowed to have dreams. It doesn't mean you can't grieve the timeline you imagine. Because if you ask me, we aren't grieving something we lost. We are just grieving something we thought would happen. And that's a very quiet kind of grief. You see someone your age accomplishing something you once dreamed about. And for a moment, your heart sings. You see promotion, the business, the graduation, the wedding, the new apartment, the announcement. And you're happy for them, for real, for real. You really are. But somewhere underneath the happiness, there's a tiny voice asking, when will it be my turn? And then you feel guilty for even thinking it. But maybe you don't need to feel guilty. Maybe you just need to be honest. You are allowed to celebrate someone else's chapter without pretending you are not still waiting for yours. And that is not envy. It's not even close to jealousy. It's just you waiting for yours. Another strange thing about adulthood is we rarely compare our ordinary moments to someone else's ordinary moment. We compare our behind the scenes to their highlight reel. We see the finished business, not the nights they wondered whether it would survive. You see the promotion, not the application that were rejected. You see the confident person, not the anxiety they felt before walking into the room. You see the beautiful family photograph, not the argument that happened 15 minutes before it was taken. You see the finished product and compare it to your unfinished process. You're comparing two completely different things. And social media makes it even louder. You open your phone for 5 minutes and suddenly you're questioning your entire life. Someone is traveling, someone is making money, someone is getting engaged, someone is buying a car, someone is announcing a new achievement, someone is living a life you thought you would believe in. And you just close the app. And suddenly, your own life feels smaller. But here is the thing. You don't know their whole story. You don't know what they are carrying. You don't know what they are afraid of. You don't know what they sacrificed. You don't even know what they are struggling with behind the picture. And more importantly, they don't know yours too. So maybe we need to stop using other people's visible moment as evidence that we are feeling. Maybe you are not behind. Maybe your story simply isn't moving at the same speed you expected. And I know that's difficult to hear when you're impatient with your own life. Because sometimes you don't want another lesson about patience. You don't want someone telling you your time will come, you want the thing, you want the breakthrough, you want the answer, you want to finally feel like you're catching up. But life doesn't always move in a straight line. Sometimes you spend years preparing for something and then discover you don't even want it anymore. Sometimes you take the long way around. Sometimes you lose time. Sometimes you make choices you regret. Sometimes you have to begin again at an age where you thought you would already be finished. And none of that makes your life a failure. It only makes your life a life. And I think one of the hardest part of adulthood is realizing that nobody's coming to tell you when you've finally made it. There isn't always a moment where the music starts playing and you suddenly think, yes, I have figured everything out. Instead, they are just small moments, quiet ones. You pay a bill on time. You handle a difficult conversation better than the old version of you. You say no without explaining yourself for 20 minutes. You rest without feeling guilty. You make a decision and trust yourself. You stop chasing approval. You stop trying to convince people to understand you. You become comfortable saying, I don't know. You ask for help. You apologize when you're wrong. You walk away when something isn't good for you. And you begin to understand your own patterns as well. And then, one ordinary day, you look around and you realize you've become someone you once needed. Maybe that's what growing up actually is. Not becoming fearless, but learning that you can be afraid and still move. Not knowing everything, but knowing how to ask for help. Not having every answer, but becoming better at asking better questions. Maybe adulthood isn't about finally becoming completely certain. Maybe it's about becoming comfortable enough with uncertainty that you stop letting it control you. You are allowed to take your time. You don't have to rush yourself. Just because other people seem to be moving faster, there are seasons where you will build. There are seasons where you will rest. There are seasons where you will lose. There are seasons where you will begin again. And there are seasons where, from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But something may be happening underneath. Roots grow quietly, and nobody stands around congratulating a tree while it's growing roots. They only notice the tree later. Maybe you're in a root season. Maybe this part of your life isn't about showing everyone what you have accomplished. Maybe it's about becoming strong enough to hold what you keep asking for. Maybe you are learning discipline. Maybe you are learning boundaries. Maybe you are learning patience. Maybe you are learning how to be alone. Maybe you are learning how to trust yourself. Maybe you're simply learning how to survive a season you didn't expect. And maybe that matters too. Because not every season has to look impressive. Some seasons are simply preparing you. So, if you're listening to this and wondering whether you're behind, take a breath. You don't have to solve your entire life today. You don't need to know exactly where you'll be in 5 years from now. You don't need to have everything figured out because you're allowed to feel proud of yourself. You are actually allowed to feel proud of yourself. Look at how far you've already come. Think about the things that once felt impossible for you that are now simply part of your normal life. Think about the younger version of you, the one who couldn't imagine making it through certain season. And yet, you are here. Still becoming, still learning, still trying, still finding your way. Maybe not where you thought you'd be, but yeah, you are here and living. And maybe being here is worth acknowledging. Maybe you don't need to constantly ask what is next. Maybe sometimes you can ask what is here. What is here in this season? Who is here? What have I learned? What have I survived? What am I becoming? Because your life isn't only the destination you're trying to reach. It's also this morning. Your life is also this conversation. Your life is this ordinary Tuesday, the ordinary days, the people you love, the little things that make you laugh, the quiet moments nobody knows about, the version of yourself you're slowly learning to understand. Thank you for spending this moment with me. If today's conversation found you at a time where you're questioning your life, I hope you remember this. You're not late. You're not failing because your life doesn't look like someone else's. And you're not behind simply because you haven't arrived where you thought you would be. Some lies unfold quickly. Some take the long way. Some change direction completely. And that is okay. Your life is not a race against someone else's timeline. So, be gentle with yourself. Be patient with the person you're becoming. And remember, maybe today, maybe this week, maybe right after this episode, you look at your life a little differently. Maybe you stop asking, why am I not there? And start asking, where can I go from here? Because sometimes the life you're waiting for is already here. But it's quiet, slow, in ways you haven't noticed yet. Until next time, take care of yourself, be gentle with your heart. I'll meet you again right here in the quiet corner.